Hey, boys and girls. We are on Chapter 1, Lesson 3, Compare and Order Numbers. I jumped over to 3, 6, and 9. So we're going to work on 3, 6, and 9. And I know you guys are probably really good at this. Okay, so let's look at number 3. And let's not forget how to read numbers. When I see a comma, I know that that's going to be a word. So I'm going to read 52,692, and then over on the other side, 52,692. I just read the exact same number, didn't I? So what you have to think about is less than, greater than, or equal. Which one will make this statement true? We're comparing these numbers. So if they're exactly the same, equal. Okay? So number 6. Again, 157,932 compared to 200,013. Okay, so we are going to go place value by place value and compare them. We're going to start with the highest place value because that's worth the most. The highest place value here is this guy, and that's the 100,000s place, because if I have more 100,000s in one number than the other, that's going to be the greater number, because 100,000s, that's a lot. That's the highest place value in these numbers. So when I compare the digit, let's look at this one first, the digit 1 compared to the digit 2, well, in this number, the digit 1 is worth 100,000. Remember, you did the value, and this digit 2 is worth 200,000. So you have to think, is the first number less than the second number? Is the first number greater than the second number? Or is the first number equal? Well, we know they're not equal. And I think you probably know already that that first number is less than, because 1 is less than 200,000. Okay, number 9, 258,766 compared to 258,596. Now we're comparing these two place value by place value. We're going to start with the greatest. It's the 100,000s. They're both 2s. Well, let's keep going to the 10,000s place. They're both 5s. Now let's keep going to the thousands place. They're both 8s. Well, so far they are equal. Let's move on to the hundreds. The value of the hundreds in this is 700. The value of the hundreds here is 500. Aha! Different, right? So which one is greater? Let's see. Really, we're comparing that to that. So 7 is greater than the 5. And if it confuses you, or if you have a really long number, you can always write them like this. 258,766, and then right below it, write the number you're comparing. Because the place values then, if you line up that comma, each place value will be lined up too. And it's a little easier to compare them. So then you look, wow, those are different. This one must be greater. Okay? Now don't forget, you have to do everything your teacher asked you to do on this page. So I just did numbers 3, 6, and 9. All right. Now we're moving on to numbers 10 and number 12. Boys and girls, this is exactly the same, except you have an extra number in there. You're comparing numbers. So for number 10, I'm going to read each number to you. 23,710. 23,751. 23,715. Well, the 23,000 is the same in all three of them, isn't it? So if I just write, I'm just going to write these three digits over to the side and compare them, because the 23,000 is exactly the same. So 710, 751, 715. Now I want to, gosh, we'd have to check the directions again. Let's double check. Least to greatest. So the first number we're going to write on our list is the number that's the least. So when I look at these, 710, 751, 715, 710 is the least. I just can't write 710 though. I have to, of course, go back and write the original number, 23,710. And then I'm going to do this fancy thing called a semicolon. That's supposed to be a dot, dot, and a comma under it. A semicolon is good for separating numbers because it doesn't look like a decimal. And it doesn't look just like a plain old comma, so that at the end it doesn't look like you have some number in the trillions. Okay, so let's see. That was our least. So 751 is left and 715 is left. Oh, well, I know that this one's going to be the greatest. So that's going to be the one I write last. I'm going to write this guy next. There it is. 23,715. Semicolon. And then the greatest comes last. I'm going to write it down here on the bottom. 23,751. Okay? Now let's look at number 12. Oh, number 12 is kind of nice also. When I just glance at it right off the bat, 465,321. 465,321. Did I say that one backwards? 400. I did. 400. Look at that. 56,000. Oh, math book. Don't you trick me. And then the third number, 456,231. Okay. 465, and then these are both 456. So 465,000 is definitely going to be the greatest of these three numbers, because 465 is greater than 456 and 456. I'm going to put, you want to put a little G by it? G. We'll put a G there for greatest. So really, boys and girls, we just have to compare these two numbers now. 456,321, 456,231. This reminds me of number 10, doesn't it? 456,000 is the same on both of these. So I'm just going to pluck out those hundreds, 321 from right there, and 231 from right there, and compare place value by place value. Starting with the hundreds, right off the bat, they're different. So which one of those is least? Of course, 2. So the least of these three numbers is 456,231. Semicolon. This guy is going to be in the middle. 456,321. Because remember, we have to go back to the original number. Okay? And then the greatest, that's this guy over here. Remember, we labeled that guy first. And so that is 465,321. Great. Let's move on. Or you can pause if you want to. Okay, I am at number 1. Now this is lesson check. Okay, the lesson check is on the back. This is number 1. I'm going to read it. At the yearly fundraising drive, the nonprofit company's goal was to raise $55,500 each day. So that's what they wanted to raise each day. I'm going to write that up here because that was their daily goal. Okay? And guys, a nonprofit company, that's a company that is not trying to earn money for themselves. They're just trying to do something usually nice for other people. Okay, so let's see the rest of this. Here's where I'm reading now. After 3 days, it had raised $55,053, $56,482, and $55,493. So those are what they raised on each of the days. And don't forget their daily goal, that's what they were wanting each day, was $55,500. So which amount was less than the daily goal? So we have to look at our 4 choices down here, A, B, C, D. Can you find one that's less? Let me see here. Well, you know what I found right off the bat is one that I can cross out, one that's more. Okay, so remember, 55,000 was our goal. Look at D. That's 56,000. Goodbye. You are not going to be the answer. I just found another one I can cross out. Look at A. It says 55,500. 55,500, that is the goal. So that's equal to the goal. A is equal, not less. So bye-bye, A. Now let's see here. What else can we think about? That's 55. That's 55. Okay, so now I'm going to look at the hundreds here. That's 53. That's 593. Oh, hold on now. 593 or 53. If we compare all of those, I can see when I compare these 3, which one is less. Look at this guy. Well, nothing in the hundreds place. Okay, so B is less than the daily goal of 55,500. All right, guys, down to the spiral review. Fractions again, okay? It says Jess is comparing fractions. Oh, and we are on number 3, okay? Jess is comparing fractions. Which fraction is greater than 5/6? Oh my goodness, look at all these fractions. The first thing I look for when I'm comparing fractions, if something is more than half or less than half, and when I look 7/8, 4/5, 3/4, 2/3, all of those are more than half. But here's something I'm noticing about them. Each of these choices is one piece away from making one whole thing. Here's what I mean by that. 7/8 is one piece away. So let's say I had okay, a delicious candy bar, and Do you see how Mrs. Olvey made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces? If I have 7/8 of that candy bar, I have every piece of it except for one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have a lot of candy bar, don't I? The only piece I don't have is that little guy. That's what I mean when I look at 7/8. It only would take one more piece to make a whole candy bar. And the pieces are small because I cut my candy bar into 8 equal parts. The more parts, the smaller they're going to be. If you have a candy bar and you share it with 8 friends, the pieces are going to be kind of small. But let's think about this one. If you have a candy bar and you only separate it into 3 equal parts, those are going to be some pretty big pieces. I'm going to try and draw a candy bar and show 2/3. So the 3 means that my whole candy bar is made of 3 equal parts, and I have 2. 1, 2. So for 2/3, one piece away from being a whole, that is that much compared to 7/8. Okay, so you can tell 7/8. That's a lot because the pieces are so small and you're only taking one of them out. If you have 7/8, you have a lot of that candy bar. If you have 2/3, you still have an okay amount of candy bar, but not as much as if you had 7/8. Okay? I want us to go back. Remember, we're comparing this to 5/6. So if I had 5/6, that's also one piece away from a whole candy bar, right guys? Boop, boop. There's a candy bar that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal slices. Well, slices, I said, because I'm always thinking about pizza. 6 equal pieces of candy. Okay? And you have 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So you have a lot of that candy bar, but a bigger piece is left to make it whole. Okay? So when they're asking which fraction is greater than 5/6, the answer is going to be 7/8 because you're only one piece away from a whole candy bar and the piece is very small. That was kind of tricky and you did that a long time ago, but you'll go back over that again. All right, this is the last one we're going to do, and it says, it's number 4 in spiral review. What is the perimeter of the rectangle below? Perimeter, outside, the outside. Okay, so it's this line. Perimeter is measuring a line. Okay, there are a few ways that you can do this. You can go 6 plus 8 plus 6 plus 8. But what I like to do is, since I know that this is a rectangle, I know that this side and this side are the same. And mentally, I can add 8 plus 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. And then I can go, oh, it's a rectangle, so these two sides are also equal. 6 plus 6, mentally I add those, that's 12. So if I add 12 plus 16, it's the same as adding 6 plus 8 plus 6 plus 8. Let's see here. 2 plus 6 is 8. 1 plus 1 is 2. Ring-a-ding-ding-ding. You guys are awesome. Please be sure to do the rest of your homework that the teacher wants you to do. Have an awesome night.